Bada bing, bada boom. V reversal and V shift. Somebody asked me which V option should I be using more out of V shift or V reversal. My answer to them was you should actually use both. You shouldn't pick whether you stick to one or not, because they both have their uses. Yo, Fox with the 4-tier gifted subs for the turn up? Is this a turn up for the YouTube video? Is this a turn up? Hold on. Let me find out I'm getting these gifted subs because Jiggy Wiggy Wiggy's in the building. Okay, Jiggy Wiggy Wiggy. I see you, Jiggy Wiggy. Jiggy Wiggy. Jiggy Wiggy. Jiggy Wiggy. Hold on, Jiggy Wiggy. Okay. What you want to punch me in the neck for? We already been through this. V reversal and V shift. Honestly, you shouldn't choose which one you should be using more. They both have their uses, all right? They both have pros and cons also. So I'm gonna start with V reversal. The pros of V reversal is that depending on what character you're using, whether you're having a character with a knockdown or an evasive V reversal, the characters who score a knockdown off their V reversal are considered to have the best V reversal, right? An evasive V reversal like Nash and Monat, it can be good, but it can sometimes get you put in a sticky situation if you mess it up. Today's video, I will be going over pros and cons of both V reversal and V shift. I won't talk y'all head off too much. It's just going to be a quick video on why each one should be used and when each one should be used. The pros of V reversal. Having a V reversal that causes a knockback is a good momentum killer. So just imagine you have a life lead, right? If you see that your opponent is trying to start pressure, you no longer need to hold on to your V reversals for V trigger. Your decision making becomes more tight and you should be waiting on your opponent to make a mess up. So at this point, say you're going against Balrog, EX straight, kill a momentum, roundhouse, kill a momentum, jump in, kill a momentum if they don't grab you. So that's one con. No, that's one pro, my bad. Oops. Another thing that V shift doesn't cover is that if you're close on stun, V reversal actually lowers the stun gauge. So if you're paying attention to your stun meter and you realizing that you're getting close to the stun, you could burn a V reversal in order to drop the stun probably by 10 to 15% maybe. So the cons of V reversal is that if I go for a jump in, it can easily get baited for a grab. Same thing with a tick throw. It's ways to bait the V reversal. So it's those life or death situations that you have to think about it, right? So imagine you're one hit from stun and your opponent decides to jump on you and you know that it's bound for you to get thrown. You can V reversal, it's gonna still drop the stun, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get thrown. So now you just gave yourself an extra guess, even though you knew that the throw was coming. So V reversal, the pros is that it kills momentum. It's good to use it when you have the life lead, and it increases decision making and forces your opponent to get more greedy than what they have to get because you're constantly knocking them down, which it builds great life. 28 damage off the white life. Now the cons to it, like I said, if I go for a jump in, I could bait it with a throw. If I go for a button, I could bait it with a throw. Now let's talk about V shift. Invincible on frame 1, it is a good wake up option to do mid screen. It's ways to bait it, right? It's ways to bait it, but it's an invincible backdash that works best mid screen. I feel like it gets destroyed in the corner. I have a very low success rate with it in the corner. Let's say Bison does back throw into forward swipe, right? Very generic setup for Bison players. You know this is coming. V shift. V break. You go punish it. So when somebody asks me which one should I be using, V reversal or V shift, you should honestly be using both of them. They both have their pros, they both have their cons. You have to base your decision off of the current situation that you're in. So that's one pro to it. No, actually that's two pros. It's invincible on frame 1 or 2, whichever one it is. It's a good escape route for most pressure in the game. Like for Urian, his knee drop is basically invalid against V shift. Bison swipes, Bison setups can almost be invalid with V shift also. Now, let's talk about some cons to the V shift. I saw a very basic generic setup for Balrog forward throw and the low forward. Low dash low. It doesn't work. It can work, but you know what's crazy about this? You don't even see a lot of people doing this. I feel like with V shift being in the game, if Balrog goes for forward throw, you would see a lot of V shifts right there. People will still block that like V shift isn't in the game. And I feel like Bison, he should be able to V shift and then follow with EX scissor kick. Say I go for a pressure. Oops. Right? In order to beat V shift, you have to do like some extra weird, awkward setups where it leads to sort of kind of a hard read, but not exactly a hard read, right? Like I have to do some offbeat stuff in order to predict that the V shift is coming. So another pro to the V shift is that if you mix in, right, enough V shifts, people may not notice this, but you could wake up 3 frame, you could wake up backdash, or just do some weird stuff. Like once people start thinking about V shift, your other options become more successful. And I feel like people haven't incorporated that enough. Like if I expect a V shift right here and I go for something that's like a weird jumping, like an extra dash, like the success rate of a 3 frame is highly increased. You can also mix in your back dash off of it. Your back recovery, your no recovery, your back recovery. Like all your defense wake up options become more significant when V shift is involved. So mixing in both V options is key. You shouldn't choose to eliminate one. Both have pros and cons. V shift gets beat harder than V reversal though. I think that's the biggest con. V shift is beautiful, but if it gets baited, you get crushed and punished hard. I wouldn't use it very willy-nilly, but you have to like be prepared for the consequences if it gets baited. Like yeah, it's kind of terrible in the corner. Like it's actually terrible. Unless you get that perfect timing, if you just get a regular V shift, yeah, you might get punished very hard, like extra hard. So just a quick video, not trying to talk y'all heads off, just show some quick pros and cons of both. Make sure y'all utilize both of them. It's the universal defense options that Street Fighter did give us, even though some characters don't have DP.